Welcome to aminacademy.com. In history of Muslim world, the early dynasty. Let us do some notes about caliphs: Mutasim, Wasik, Mutawakkil, Muntazir, Mustain, and Mutaz. First, after Mamun's death, the burden of empire fell upon the shoulders of Mutasim. During his administration, the Arabs were replaced by the Turks as the occupants of high office of state. The emperors themselves were mere supporters in the hands of the Turkish administrators. About this time, the country also fell a prey to various disorders and dissensions. A band of Joths came over from India, landed upon the lowlands of Iraq, and began to carry their devastation very far. They compelled the inhabitants to pay taxes at an exorbitant rate. Mutasim tried hard to subdue the newcomers and succeeded in driving them off after some months of persistent effort in 835 AD. The Jats were banished from Azerbaijan, and it was their descendants who came in after times to be known as the nomadic gypsy folk of Europe. The Mutasim, the eighth caliph of the Abbasid dynasty, who reigned from 833 to 842, he was the younger son of Hārūn al-Rashīd and succeeded his brother al-Maʻmūn. Al-Mutasim was the first caliph to use Turkish mercenaries, and his reign was a turning point in Abbasid politics and military. Next one, Wasik. Mustasim died in 842 AD and was succeeded by his son Wasik, who reigned for 5 years in his place. Like Mamun, Wasik also was a promoter of learning. The ninth Abbasid Caliph, who ruled from 840 to 847, he was known as for his good looks, ruddy complexion, and paralyzed left eye. After succeeding al-Mutasim, he donated generously to the common people, especially in Baghdad, Mecca, and Medina. Next, Mutawakkil. Wasik was succeeded by his brother Mutawakkil. A rebellion broke out in Armenia in AD 851, but next year it was suppressed by the Turkish general Boga, though not without considerable pains and effort. In AD 852, the Greeks reached the Egyptian coast with a fleet of 300 ships and destroyed the capital city of Fastat. But in 859, the Greek navy was defeated in battle by the Muslim fleet, and the Greeks were compelled to sue for peace. In AD 859, Seistan freed itself from the control of Tahir dynasty, and in 860, the governor of Seistan proclaimed himself as an emir or king in his own right, a declaration of independence, which the caliph had to accept performance. Al-Mutawakkil, born March 8, 22, Iraq, died in December 861, Samarra, Iraq, was an Abbasid caliph who was a young man, held no political or military positions of importance, but took a keen interest in religious debates that had far-reaching political importance. When he succeeded al-Wasik, a caliph, in 847, al-Mutawakkil reverted to a position of Islamic orthodoxy and began a persecution of all non-Orthodox or non-Muslim groups. Next, al-Muntasir. Muntasir is 861 to 862, only 1 year after Mutawakkil's death. His son Muntasir succeeded in AD 861, who had a short reign of 1 year only. About al-Muntasir was the 10th Abbasid caliph in Baghdad from 861 to 862. His pious title means he that triumphed in the world, in the Lord. In 849, he had been appointed supreme governor of Egypt by his father, although there is no record that he visited there in this capacity. By 661, he appeared to have lost favor and feared that his father would move against him. In response, he incited the already unhappy Turkish guard to assassinate him. They pronounced him caliph and persuaded him to nominate his son, not a brother, as heir. By June 862, he was dead from unknown causes. He did not live long enough to make a mark on the caliphate, already in decline. The manner by which they succeeded did nothing to stabilize the way in which caliphs were chosen. Next one, al-Mustasim, al-Mustain. Al-Mustain reigned 862 to 8666. After Muntasir's death, his grandson Mustain was appointed as caliph with the assistance of the Turks. The Turkish fleet gained greatly in power and prestige during his reign, but notwithstanding this fact, the Greeks succeeded in effecting a considerable amount of ravage in Asia Minor. The Mustain was the Abbasid caliph in Baghdad from 862 to 866. After the death of previous caliph al-Muntasir, the Turkish chiefs held a council to select his successor. They did not favor al-Mutaz or his brother, so they elected him, another grandson of al-Mutasim. Al-Mutasim's short reign was marked by unrest, revolt, plot, and counter-plot as the Turkish guard and Arab Muslims clashed over whose right it was to choose the control of caliphate. Forced to flee from the capital in 865, he had abdicated by 866 in favor of his younger brother al-Mu'taz, who before the end of the year ordered his execution. During al-Mustain reign, the caliphate was in serious decline. Next, al-Mutaz, 866 to 869. Mustain was slain by Mutaz, who proclaimed himself as caliph in place of his former. Shortly after his accession to the throne, he tried his utmost to destroy the overweening power of the two Turkish generals, Vasik and Boga. Both of them were killed in course of time, and for a while Mutaz almost felt as he could reign without rival in power. But things quickly fell into disorder again. The imperial lady guard, consisting of the Turkish, African, and Persian soldiers, had become a very powerful body, and their power was further increased by the fact that arrears of pay were due to them. In fact, their total dues from the state amounted at this time to 20 crores of dirhams. This was double the entire amount of the imperial land revenue, and it goes without saying that the caliph was unable to clear the dues promptly. Meanwhile, the territories of Islam were gradually shrinking in dimensions. Yaqub, governor of Seistan, and Ahmed, son of Tulud, both proclaimed their independence. Al-Mutaz was the title of Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad from 866 to 869. He was only 19 when he was declared Caliph by the Turkish guard. which had previously imprisoned him to prevent him from challenging his brother for the throne. That brother Mutasim was then deposed and replaced by al-Mu'taz. Arab Muslims, furious that Turks now controlled the caliphate and that they had no say in the succession, rebelled. The target of their revolt was less al-Mu'taz than the Turks who manipulated him, but the result was anarchy. The secession of Egypt under a Turkish commander and bankruptcy at the center. The young caliph was killed when the army, unpaid for months, tricked him into allowing their commands into the palace. In next video, we'll talk about Tulun Dynasty. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.